Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabite Efene.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Victoria Tundu MQ Abiola.
Good morning.
Very floral this morning. Yes. Let's start the review.
Efene the poet.
Yes, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Yes, the headline, very serious issues. Afraid of defeat in 2023. APC senators weaken e-transmission of election results. House senators voted. Commotion forces House to adjourn decision till today. New law may be unconstitutional. Of course, expectedly. This is the lead story in most of today's newspaper in Nigeria. The Guardian newspaper, quickly. 2023 in jeopardy as Electoral Act amendment splits National Assembly. NCC lawmakers to take over INEC's mandate on electronic transmission of results. The Nigerian Tribune newspaper, e-transmission of election results. Senate gives NCC, National Assembly, final say. Reps in summit session take brief from INEC, NCC today. We were against nebulous wordings of Section 52, subsection 3 of proposed act, Senate spokesman. Division, beauty of democracy, Senate president. APC senators preparing grounds for mass vote rigging, PDP. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, National Assembly in rowdy session over electronic transmission of results. While the News Direct newspaper, 2021 Electoral Act Amendment Bill, National Assembly in rowdy session. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, Electoral Act, drama as Senate murders electronic transmission of results. INEC now to seek NCC, National Assembly permission. Reps fight over e-voting adjourned till today. While the Daily Trust newspaper, INEC strip of sole power to transmit results electronically, must get clearance from National Assembly, NCC. Reps fail to pass bill, exchange blows. Now, if we just look at what the Punch newspaper, how it reports the story, electronic result transmission. Southern senators turn against governors, National Assembly members clash. Senators say National Assembly, NCC to determine when electronic transmission is feasible. Decision of APC-led Senate, shocking. It undermines our electoral process. Before we come and discuss this story. Now, the foreign newspapers, quickly, the Guardian of UK, dozens dead as heavy rain brings catastrophic flooding to Europe. Yes, many areas in Europe, Germany, Holland, and Belgium. 58 persons dead in Germany, over 70 still missing. While the Washington Post, child tax aid starts to flow. Yes, anti-poverty bid, largest since 1960s. Biden extolled initiative. Yes, the Biden administration began the biggest anti-poverty program undertaken by the federal government in over 50 years, delivering monthly payments to the overwhelming majority of American parents for the first time. Yes, now, but let's come back home. Now, the National Assembly, specifically first the Senate, yesterday did the unthinkable, an attempt to undermine the democratic process, and that in itself is very clear. Of course, by the decision, as this day reports the story, by the decision, the National Assembly, statutorily designed as a law-making organ of government, seeks to assume powers to approve a decision exclusively within the purview of the executive arm of government. Of course, stripping INEC of its powers. INEC is a body recognized in the Constitution. But let's look at the background to this. According to Disney, yesterday's proceedings at the Senate, Disney can exclusively report on Monday of the plot by APC senators to delegitimize future elections. Sources told Disney last night that while some of them were ready to shift ground on Wednesday to vote for electronic transmission of election results yesterday, they had to fall in line when the party ordered them to water down Clause 52. It was gathered that the APC leadership, a few hours to the announced commencement of plenary, directed the leader of the Senate, Senator Yahya Abdullah, APC Kebbi North, to inform the party members to amend Clause 52 of the bill to mandate INEC to seek NCC nod before it could transmit election results electronically in a particular area. Now, the agenda of the All Progressive Party, All Progressive Congress political party, to whittle down this session. Disney reported sometime last week that ahead of 2023, the APC is planning ahead to rig the elections. And here we are with this session. But the House of Representatives yesterday did not pass this bill, as it were. Now, the Speaker suddenly emerged and took charge. He has invited INEC as well as the NCC to brief the House. Why did Femi Gbajabiamila abandon his position as Speaker on a crucial matter of national interest? That is one question. Only to emerge like actor to pacify everybody when there was rowdiness in the House. But the House of Representatives, they have the opportunity to put their name in gold, to redeem the National Assembly from carrying out this rape on the democratic process. Reuben Rufai and Tundu, over to you.
Well, I'm thinking of the poet and writer Audre Lorde when she says your silence will not protect you. She was making a reference to feminism, but it's apt in this case. You were talking about that earlier, Dr. Abbas. You said you'll expand in Mr. Ifeani's segment, so?
Okay. Well, just to make this point again, that what happened in the Senate yesterday was a coup against the Nigerian people. You will recall also that, the vote was along party lines, but we were also disturbed that members of the PDP, you remember that the major opposition party, the People's Democratic Party,
yes,
had issued a statement. Caucus meetings were held, across the country, and we expected that perhaps the opposition would be confident enough to stand up on the floor of the Senate to vote in line with the position of the party. You may say we're not running a parliamentary system, but, this is politics. And also to vote in line with public opinion and the expectations of the people that certain critical provisions that would deepen the democratic process, ensure transparency and accountability, will be provisions that, their representatives will stand by and say, we support this. But as I said earlier, many of those lawmakers, 28 of them, the majority of them, 28 who were not part of that voting, were present at the critical time when the voting was supposed to start. They ran away. They disappeared. What manner of lawmakers are these? Including senators from Tundu's state. They conveniently absented themselves. So we may have to reach a point in this democracy.
Ruben, it is a shame. It is a shame.
Yes, whereby we would have to recall some lawmakers on the basis of their performance. And that is why we've been saying that, look, there's provision for electronic voting in the National Assembly. There should be electronic voting so that there will be proper record of how lawmakers stand or how they stood at critical times in the nation's history. The House of Representatives is meeting today to consider the same issues. And the point that we have made is that, look, the kind of monkey business that we saw in the Senate yesterday should not occur today in the House of Representatives. We hope that constituents who have been asked by Dr. Lawan, the Senate President, to put pressure on their representatives will have done so within the last 24 hours. And that the people who will contribute to that debate on the floor of the House of Representatives would be people who are committed to progress, to transparency and accountability, not persons who are acting like marionettes and who are afraid to speak the truth to power. They should know that Nigerians will be watching, and Nigerians should note these people who are organizing a coup against the Nigerian people.
Rufai, do they listen to the people, or they just buckle under the weight of what the APC wants to do?
You know, using the words of Dr. Bati, they have the mind of their own, just like a certain organ in the human body. But moving on, just hear this, Mr. Efeni.
Yes.
JAMB results, electronic. WAEC results, electronic. ICANN results, electronic. Phone registration, electronic. Money transfer, electronic. International passport, electronic. Working from home, electronic. University lectures, electronic. INEC results, no network coverage. Transport by road. That's something making the rounds on social media.
Yes.
I mean, that's to show you how we deceive ourselves.
You see, they want to reserve that opportunity to tamper with results.
Oh, yes.
Well, of course.
Oh, yes.
That's the only motivation.
And it got to a point, now they pass the responsibility to NCC that INEC is superior to. So INEC should go and report to NCC.
And
Then some lawmakers were so happy and bold to say, I don't have network in my village, it's Turaya I use. And now they are pushing for broadband. We've not even executed a national broadband plan. Now they say broadband is their problem. You see, Mr. Efeni, whatever we do, generations yet unborn will talk about us. And I'm sure that they forget that Nigerians will never forget them for what they have done. Because what they have done, like Dr. Bati said, is coup, manipulation. They started proving all sorts of proviso in this. But they should remember that if elections are fair, it is fair for all of us. And they should also remember that these were the same people that the card reader favored. If not for the card reader, a lot of them will not get to where they are today.
Including President Muhammadu Buhari.
So,
And if any,
yes,
some of the people who went to the toilet at the convenient time when the voting was to start, go and check the list. They are mostly people who have issues with the EFCC. So some of these your lawmakers.
No, but you see, this is where we expect,
Anyway.
if the House of Representatives don't do the needful, we expect President Muhammadu Buhari to withhold his assent. And for once, he will be correct.
Okay.
He just might.
What do we have other than hope? Let's keep being optimistic. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni.